a lot of inhas, a lot of...
what do they mean? What do those words mean?
Fresh and clean, mostly, but the inha makes it like yummy, like...
Avon's success depends on women selling an intimate product to customers who are also friends. In Brazil, they don't have a sales force, they have an army.
1.5 million reps in Brazil alone.
1.5 million women selling Avon cosmetics?
Women and men. Almost 1% of the Brazilian population is in an Avon rep.
Que você ainda não conhece.
Every woman, every man, they don't have access to the Chanels of the world. So what happens is, from a taste-making perspective, the Brazilian market is kind of an island where local players have sort of shaped the way that Brazil smells. Trends that are very pervasive in New York, very pervasive in Europe, don't necessarily translate here. So when we brief a fragrance house, an international perfumer that's developing something for Avon, he has to take into account Brazil, interpret the trend from a Brazilian perspective.
And if you don't do well here, if you're an Avon fragrance that's not doing so well here, are you likely to get knocked off the list? Because if you don't do well here,
Absolutely,
you're out.
absolutely.
Some of Avon's scents are manufactured locally by fragrance company Givaudan. They believe in total immersion and have bought French perfumer Thierry Bessard to live here and permanently adjust his nose.
Looks nice, but very strong. Very natural. It's a bit creamy as well. Quite interesting. I think that would be very good in a masculine or feminine fragrance. I came here for 6 months and it's been 15 years now. To me, as a perfumer, it's fantastic to work in a country where all the people love fragrances, you know.
Que isso? Se chama Everest.
Everest. Okay, so that's probably why it smells so fresh. Here it's very important that the fragrance is always very fresh. It has to be fresh and clean as well. At the same time, they want something that is a bit sensual as well.
Smells have different meanings in different cultures. It's been an education for the Frenchman.
Fruity notes, you know, they're not the same as in Europe, partly because you don't have the same fruits. We think in Europe vanilla is very sweet and it's a heavy fragrance and so on. Here it's very often considered a fresh fragrance. You have to adapt to that type of thinking. Okay. Thank you very much. Você está com fragrância? Okay, is with Kenzo Homme. Well, I was certainly confused with the lavender, you know. When you come from Europe, you know, you think lavender is or for the old lady or it's a masculine fragrance. Here it's very much loved by women, actually. Actually, you wouldn't find that many fragrances with chocolate or coffee here. I think partly because, you know, they don't like to find on their skin something that they drink all the time. Especially the coffee is very strong here. And coffee for them is cheap as well, okay? It's the same with orange, for instance. Brazil produces a lot of oranges. So if you have orange in a fragrance, this is something that is cheap.
Você pode usar.
Você está muito perfumado, hein?
É?
Você está muito perfumado.
Eu?
É, que perfume que é isso?
Não sei, Fahrenheit que eu uso.
Ah, Fahrenheit,
É.
okay. This, what? To me it's typically a mango smell, but for those who don't know, it's a bit peachy, apricot, that kind of fruit.
You wouldn't use that in a perfume, would you?
I would, yeah. Not alone, and not obviously mango.
Bessard is concerned with public smells, but also private ones. His tireless pursuit of local knowledge takes him into people's homes to keep abreast of changing scent fashions.
The next is social class C. Her name is Ana Célia.
He and his colleague Flavia Motta make regular forays into the suburbs to scratch and sniff.
She wears lots of local brands. Let's try to understand better.
How heavy user is she?
She wears fragrance every day, 7 days a week. And when asked to describe her favorite fragrance, she says, funny, it smells like a rich lady.
She wants to smell like a rich lady.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
it's inclusion, social class C.
Isso é a minha lavandinha, como eu falei para você.
Okay,
Né?
this with the lavender from Avon that she's using a lot, and she cannot be without it.
Isso, de banho.
Cheiro de banho.
Você sair
It's very refreshing and it really makes you feel very clean.
Sempre limpa.
This one is from Natura, it's pitanga. Pitanga is a local fruit. This one is an air freshener actually.
Quem que fez? Isso aí, não, esse aqui é mais suave.
This one is a passion flower, and passion flower she likes better actually.
Não tem,
This one is the one that she uses mostly at night. This fragrance is what she calls cologne. Actually, they are baby fragrances originally, but she likes them because she said, well, it's a good smell, and she doesn't know how to explain it further.
For now, Ana Celia's collection includes local products that nod to Western tastes, smells for the upwardly mobile. But for how long?
Europe and the US still have a big influence on the Brazilian perfumery, but I'm pretty sure that one day we're just going to see the reverse.
In North London, the Brooks are looking to different horizons. They're preparing a 9-bottle order for a client in the Middle East.
Can you manage? Is it heavy? It is heavy. Why don't we just push this stuff out?
Their scents are usually supplied in simple bottles, but there is something more exclusive available.
We have one beautiful little flacon made from the original mould that the family commissioned nearly 100 years ago.
I'll try and wrap it over the sofa.
Hand cut and with pure gold as part of that etching process.
Real gold.
Real gold, pure gold. Each stopper is individual to the particular flacon. You just put it in. And the way this is, you lock it by a quarter turn. I feel very proud that we've found the mould, and proud of my ancestors for having the foresight to commission one. So we're very, very lucky. So this is for a special order. It's our first commercial order for a very special customer in the Middle East, who's ordered 9 of these.
And who is that customer? Are you allowed to say?
I'd rather not say. No, I think they're very special people.
Okay.
It's going to a royal family in the Middle East.
This precious consignment is off to the airport, and so is Simon. There are rich pickings to be had in the Gulf, and a sales drive is in order. Bahrain is unexplored territory for Grossmith. Brooke flies in to launch his trio of Victorian beauties in the kind of place that inspired his ancestors, but which they never saw.
No leakages, nothing broken. Phew. The launch party is at 6 o'clock tomorrow. We have British ambassador, he's going to be there, and various VIPs. They love the English in the Middle East. Darn hot though.
hot and very humid. The scents of Araby have to be strong to survive the climate, as the local competition knows very well.
Sorry, I thought I have one dinner. No more one dinner. Finish.
All Arabic people is taking this. Arabic people is one strong perfume. Princess, very strong this one. Arabic perfume, all this very strong.
Yes.
Our perfume, this all Arabic people, Indian people, all people is taking this perfume. Arabic this popular, this one, silver drops. This for Arabic people is taking this. Very strong. Bakhur. Perfume, Jannatul Firdaus. This.
Genital?
Firdaus, oil perfume, this one. Jannatul Firdaus, very old perfume, this one.
Doing business on a new frontier, local knowledge is key. Brooke is joined by Syrian perfume entrepreneur Bashir Nasri, a man with connections.
A friend of mine, Sheikh Mohammed Ashmawi, he is a very wealthy man. 50% kerosene, British Petroleum, Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And he loves perfume. He's one of the one who will buy your Baccarat shoe.
Is he really?
One day, yes.
Well, you can feel the glass is really, really hot. But we haven't been outside long enough to really know what the climate is like, I don't think.
It's 126 degrees today.
Uh-huh. Wow. That's a record for me.
Simon wants a local distributor, and Bashir takes him to meet the Al-Hawaj family, perfume merchants across the Gulf.
Perfume fragrance in the Middle East is their life. It's their life. A British lady consume 100 ml in 6 months. Here, less than 1 week. I'm sure in few years, everybody will know about Grossmith.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hello.
I brought some treasure to show you. So Shem al-Nasim is Arabic for smelling the breeze, yes. The best of English perfumery. You have to understand and know and respect the local ways of doing things.
Great to meet you.
And you forget that at your peril.
Welcome to Bahrain.
Thank you. Never had a date like this before. This is my new world, Ian. I love it. When you've got something as good as this, I mean, where can you go wrong?
Brooke is confident, but his scents will have to contend with sub-zero air conditioning and summer temperatures around 140 degrees. The most exciting thing about Simon used to be a pink silk tie. Now he consorts with merchant princes and the kind of customers who can spend their days snoozing, parking and shopping in malls. The launch is to take place in an Al-Hawaj perfumery.
Grossmith, everywhere. Grossmith, yes.
Back at home, an event like this might pull in the squirearchy and a local beauty queen. Simon greets the British ambassador.
Hello. Jeremy, thank you very much indeed for coming along to this. I'm sort of getting used to this. Your Excellency, honoured guests and friends in Bahrain, friends at Al-Hawaj. Thought about what my Grossmith ancestors would be thinking about all this, and I think they'd be absolutely delighted.
They'd be even more pleased if they knew the identity of the next Grossmith customer. The morning after the night before, there's a call from the palace. A courtier wants to meet them at the Al-Hawaj offices.
The king, when he appoints a buyer, he will not appoint anybody. He'll appoint really somebody who is expert, keen to find for His Majesty the fragrance which he loves, because they know about him. They know everything about their boss, the king, and they make the selection. This is the most.
So there are
the packaging, the presentation, everything.